All right. I can't help but have a somewhat selfish and kind of stupid smile on my face because I don't like doing the "I told you so" shit, But I did make a video a while back talking when they first announced the new yearly expansion model, right? I had these exact concerns. I knew this was gonna happen. If you go back to that video, you'll see it. I literally knew this exact issue was going to happen, and everyone else, it felt like everyone was really excited, and I was the only one who was like, this is going to suck. In fact, I would honestly say, because the model got announced a little over a year ago. I played less Guild Wars 2 in 2023 than any other year that I played Guild Wars 2. I did not play it very much at all, mainly because that new expansion model really, I didn't care for it. I knew it was going to happen because I've seen this thing in other games that have larger development teams and actually are able to manage it. And even then, it's not very good. This kind of 3-month seasonal and then yearly expansion thing is very, very hard to do and provide quality, fun content. It's a very hard thing to do. It's extremely hard. I don't really know if any game has been able to pull it off properly in comparison to games that do the 2-year expansion cycle. I don't think that's a fucking thing. I don't think they've managed to do that. And for ArenaNet to try it, it ain't gonna work. Like, ArenaNet is not ZeniMax. They're not fucking Bungie. Even after the layoffs, they're not fucking Fortnite. Epic Games. Like, they're not that. Okay, they you can't expect high quality, fun, content, that feels like it was made with passion every 3 months, and then an expansion every fucking year. That's like an incredibly unreasonable expectation. And compared to what we got before, right? Because the expansions always had these big, fucking huge, as I said in my videos, like big bouncing tits of features, really just packed with meat, right? It's like a gangbang. It's like a huge orgy of fucking features, man. It's great. And the primary one being the elite specializations. The elite specializations just did a massive refresh to not only whatever the expansion zones were, but to the entire game. They are, in my personal opinion, a core part of expansions that unfortunately with the new yearly model cannot be sustained. Now as far as balance goes, with that whole thing, I don't really fucking care. Guys, this is an MMO, alright? It's a PvE MMO. We already have so many skills. Who fucking cares, okay? This is not a PvP game. It's not, yeah, it has it, but it's not focused on PvP. This is not a competitive, game. And plus, they do balancing for both differently. So it's like, fuck it. And then as far as the role shit go, where it's like, oh, well, all the classes already have all the roles filled. I don't really give a fuck. And I've talked about this a cajillion times. I don't fucking care. I want to play as a different playstyle, right? Like Untamed, DPS Untamed, and DPS Soul Beast. They're both the same shit, right? They're both DPS, but they play differently and play in different ways. And I much prefer Untamed because I get to use my pet and fuck around with it than Soul Beast, where I suck it in and use it for stats, right? And that's the thing. They provide different playstyles and different ways, like I said, just different ways to play that role that you want. And I just really do not see the issue with adding more of them. Fuck it, why not? Like, that's your seller, man. You've already established that, And to me, it makes zero sense not to just do more elite specs. You have such an amazing thing running. Everybody loves elite specs. Fuck it, do more. Like, this game's been going on for almost 12 years now. Like, who fucking cares, dude? Do it, especially with the Guild Wars 3 rumors. Who fucking cares? Just keep doing them, man. But with a yearly expansion model, you can't do that kind of thing. And this, like I said, this is the exact same shit I talked about over a year ago. So with this continuous development cycle, they don't have the time they need to cook, right? They don't have the time they need to give us really fun, cool content. Especially like we saw with like Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, those being some extremely good examples. I loved Night of Dragons, but obviously there were some things that felt a little worse about that expansion than the others. But seeing the community sentiment now finally getting to where I was over a year ago is so fucking satisfying to watch, to me at least, And like I said, this is selfish and it's a stupid way to think, but it's also kind of a human way to think, you know? Like, have you ever had that kind of thing where you predict something and you know something's going to happen so ahead of time, and most people don't, and then seeing them come around to it, it's kind of satisfying to see, because it's like, oh, you know, I do this a lot earlier than you. Yeah, it's a selfish, you know, feeling, but I don't fucking care. That's how I feel, man. And, you know, there can't be these big features. That's the thing, right? We got the Weapon Master stuff, but what's next? Right? Because the Weapon Master stuff was an obvious thing to do. That was an obvious, easy thing to do. Obviously, there's some number balancing and shit, but for the most part, you don't have to do anything really new with it. You just unlock it to the whole fucking class, right? Balance it. You know, that's a whole different thing, obviously. I'm not saying balancing's easy, right? But it's a lot easier than making a new weapon for each class and then having to balance that, right? That's why they released the new weapons a lot later. I don't think the new weapons are enough, personally. Like, having new weapons and that's it, to me, is not a big enough thing to really change up the game, and will eventually lead to the whole game just feeling fucking stale. Because we're so used to having these elite specializations come in and changing up the whole game. It was truly an amazing thing, and it's a fucking fantastic feature in itself, an expansion seller. Even with what was considered to be some of the weaker designed elite specs with End of Dragons, that was still an expansion seller, like, in itself. So it's, yeah, it just makes zero sense to abandon that model, to me at least. They're trying to go with this more consistent content one, but at the end of the day, we're gonna be fine. There's gonna be people always bitching about content droughts, okay? That's always gonna happen. But I would much rather have those content droughts and have the team cook than fucking, you know, go and have this consistent buttfuck of low quality, mediocre content like we've seen in Secrets of the Obscure. And it's fucking really sad, man. It's really sad to see this, them going this way. It's been that way for me for over a year now. Like I said, I've said that a million times. I'm sure you kind of get the point. But yeah, that's kind of the video, man. I just wanted to discuss that a little bit, you know, give a little bit of an update with that whole thing. And I'm really, really hoping after this next expansion that ArenaNet goes to a every 2-year expansion cycle, and then maybe a you know, even goes back to like Living World. I would be perfectly fine with that. I know they completely abandoned Living World, but as far as like that seasonal content, right, the sort of content that's meant to just get you to the next expansion, I thought they were fine, man. I thought they were really, really solid after playing through all of them. I thought they were pretty fucking good, especially 3 and 4. I thought they were pretty good, man. But a lot of people seem to not like them, so maybe, you know, go something else. I don't know. As far as that continuous thing goes, right? Maybe every 4 or 5 months or something, do something. But yeah, I mean, the Guild Wars player base, I mean, we've shown that we will still play the game through content droughts, because the game's fucking titties, okay? It's a really great game. Just, you know, cook, man. And we'll stay. We'll keep playing. We'll keep giving you money and shit. Just cook. That's what we want. Anyway, yeah, that's the video. Peace.